knew, without a doubt, I would be a part of music in some way, shape, or form.
Welcome to LI on the Rise. It's all about people who are chasing their dreams. And today I'm joined by a hip hop artist. Please introduce yourself.
What's going on, peoples? I go by John D. Contradiction. You can follow me at everything at John D. Who, because, who is John D? But hey, what's going on? Long Island strong, Elmont raised, Canadian born, which a lot of people don't know, but I'm a hip hop artist, true at heart. I'm a student of the game, and I love it. I mean, it is what it is.
That was one of the best intros yet.
Nice and simple.
Welcome to the show, man. You are a big fan of 90s hip hop.
Oh, yeah. Golden era.
But hip hop has changed so much since then. So how do you feel about hip hop nowadays?
Oh man. So I got a lot of feelings about hip hop nowadays. I mean, but my biggest hot take, like the biggest thing I could take away from hip hop now, hip hop now is sound wise and quality wise is probably better than it'll ever be, like better than it's ever been. You know what I'm saying? And it's only getting better. And I will respect that. That's why the sonics are different. That's why genre bending is easier than it's ever been. But I do think when we start to point more towards the mainstream isn't necessarily that supportive of the creatives as far as lyrically or like the honest. It's kind of built around like images, and everybody has to sort of play a role or fit as a certain chess piece in the mainstream in order to kind of get the promotion that, it's going to get them out there. So I'm very, very half and half on it, but I will say just music in general, when you do get those originals, those people who are not necessarily tied down to images from labels and such, you probably get some of the best hip hop you'll ever hear, just in any sense. Like you got some dope sad boy shit. And I'm not talking just like the Drakes, but like the Nothing Nowheres and, shit like that. But then you got the aggressive street shit from like Ransom, who is just punchline heavy, rapping on soulful, but like very boom bappy beats that also have like that flair of the late 90s. But then you got Griselda rapping over like scary art, and they're talking pretty nasty street struggle shit. And they're not necessarily dropping gems. They're just talking that scary shit. And it's just at a high level. It's at a very high level. Like, sonically, it's, even though they're both like Ransoms and all of those artists that I named are rappers, it's all different, so that's the beauty of it. It's just with that, then again, there's the side of it that I don't like shit like New York drill. Drill's not our music. It's not New York. And there's not a lot of separation when it comes to it. We're kind of turning into the South, because back in the day it's like, oh, we know it's Southern music, but it wasn't like, yo, that's New York rap. And it was like, oh, that's Bronx rap, that's Brooklyn rap, that's fucking Queensbridge rap, Long Island rap. And now it's just like, oh, that's drill, no matter where it's from. That's, and it's become like a cool club type shit. So I'm 50-50.
Just talking about hip hop in general, like there's so much to digest and there's so many different like sub genres and like more than ever. So that was like a really hard question to get thrown at, but you did very well.
I tried.
Were you ever did you jump into rap to one day maybe be a mainstream artist, or is just I just love rap, I want to rap?
No, honestly, I got into rap because I was very big into poetry. I still am. And I grew up just writing a lot. I loved writing. Writing was kind of like the only way that I had to vent, being a troubled youth, being just a young Black kid in America type shit. I didn't really have too much therapy as what, people had and stuff like that. So a lot of my therapy coming from where I came from writing. So I did a lot of it. I did a lot of it, from scripts to poetry. And poetry to me was always the best, because it was always just very appealing to have a structure, because like there's so many structures of poetry, there's so many types of poetry, and to follow those guidelines and still kind of be you but nail those things, like writing a haiku and fitting the you know, the what you have to fit as order for it to be classified as a haiku, but still make it yours and kind of add your own sauce to it. That about poetry always was a challenge to me, and until this day is always something that feels like a challenge. You know, it's like challenge within rules, within an order. Like, and I've always appealed to that, and like learning to vent in that sense that eventually turned into rap. You know, and rap was just always something. You know, I always grew up. I love music. I came up from a I have music in my blood, musical ancestry. So it's just something that I've always gravitated towards. So I knew, you know, without a doubt, I would be a part of music in some way, shape, or form.
For the people tuned into this that may not have heard your music, what's the one song they should go listen to right now where it's like, yo, I never heard of this guy, but I fuck with this guy. This is dope.
So honestly, and I don't know, you know, what this would sound like, but if you want to hear something from me that's just like I think is super dope, honestly, I think it's my favorite verse that I've ever wrote. And just, well, you know, it's not my favorite song, it's my favorite verse that I've ever wrote. It's actually a song that I'm featured on. And to show love to my homie D Medi, you know, I gotta show him love. We did a track last year. I'm trying to remember the name. I'm drawing a blank, but it's with my boy D Medi, and it's called Words of Wisdom. And I opened the song up, and this was pretty much, I mean, you know, we all know, we all went through the pandemic. It was fucking chaotic. And I've grown up in the punk rock world, and, you know, punk rock tatted on my whole arm. I've loved punk rock, especially when it came to politics. And punk rock politics is my favorite politics. I still stand by it. I am very much so a believer of a lot of the shit that they taught me. So I was always against the news and always against just the fact that people can think that corruption just won't exist in certain fields is crazy to me. So he sent me Words of Wisdom. This was like when the Black Lives Matter shit was getting hot and people were getting rowdy, shit was getting wild and out of control, and the news was just capitalizing and Twitter was having a good time. He sent me this beat, and I was like, yeah, I need to write. And I was like, bro, you mind if I go off more than 16? And he was like, bro, live your life. And I went crazy. And this verse, till this day, I'm like, yo, this is the verse I want people to hear, more so because of how proud I am of that verse. I wrote that verse very quickly, which is insane for how many layers it has. But I wrote that shit in like 15 minutes because I had so much building up in me. And I want people to hear that verse. You know, that verse to me is very important. And that verse is also goes hard. You know, it goes hard as fuck. And I was just like, yo, this verse is one. So if I had to let people pick something, it's that one. If you're looking for more emotional, then I have a song called Reflect off of Take Comfort in Your Friends. That one's a little more emotional.
When it comes to your artist name, John D. Contradiction. So I know in a previous interview, up on stage, you're kind of like laughing and making jokes. You got like good friendly vibe, but your music is like very serious. You know what I mean? When you listen to it, the things that you speak about, you really gotta listen up and be like, whoa, you know what I mean? It really hits you. So it's like I don't know really how to ask this, but like, is there like two different personalities to like the artist separating you from the artist or the you from
Yeah.
the art?
You know, to add to that, what happened was I used to go by just John D because I was on some, you know, I was a big fan of J. Cole. I'm like, let me switch it up. You know, he did the first letter in Cole. I'm like, I'm just gonna do John, then D, you know, whatever, light skin shit. So I was going by John D and I was playing a bunch of shows and people saw like the way I was. Like I have mad energy. I'm a very energetic dude, always been like this. And I'm just a friendly guy. I just love to talk shit. I like to bro out. I'm a big fan of bromance and I love music. So at shows, I'm in my glory and I love performing. And I like to tell jokes in between my songs. So I like to do like a little stand-up thing and I like to crack some jokes and, you know, read the room and have a good time. And then when I rap, it's me venting. So it's very dark, it's very real, it's very vulnerable. So it's always like, what the fuck? So someone dubbed me like, bro, you're a whole contradiction up there. And I took on that name because, like, one, it was, you know, it was given to me, it was a gift. I also realized when I wrote, that's where I went. And I always play sides because when I write, what people don't realize in my writing, I'm always contradicting myself. I'm always going against what I say. But like that's my representation as a human. Like that's me showing you like I'm a human being. Like nothing is definite. And I'm always gonna contradict myself because I'm always gonna be a work in progress. So if like all my writing, it is always me going back and forth. So it's almost like, you know, it's like, it's not like, but to me, it's not like I'm not trying to do a gimmick or like a split personality or like, you know, the Eminem shit. No, like that's really how I feel. I am constantly going against what I say because it's like, yo, I'm human and I'm giving you the reasons why I do that. And that's kind of like, you know, the whole thing in a nutshell. It like just made sense to me because breaking it down at first I was like contradiction. I'm like, it makes my name long as hell. But then I started like, I really thought about how I wrote and I'm like, oh, it makes sense, you know, shit.
Absolutely, man. And I'm glad you just like kind of put that out there because it's like it's really true. Like especially with like celebrities, it's like, well, you just said that, but before you said this, and it's like, well, when did I say that? 5 years ago? Like
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
different person. I don't feel the same all the time. So it's like it really is true. You know what I mean? Like nothing like us being people. Nothing is just like, yeah, that's me always. Like yo, we change.
Yeah, nothing is
So
definite. Like nothing is set in stone. And that's the thing, like with humanity, like humanity tries so hard to take away our humanity. And it's like, bro, like we're fucking human. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you fucking Tookie Williams, dude who started the Crips, was a fucking cold-blooded killer. And before he was executed in jail, he wrote kids' books. People can change. Like people just aren't oh, you know what I'm saying? Like it just is what it is. Like, and that's just regular people. There's people who are sick. We get that. We acknowledge that. But like, yo, we're humans. These are our brains are computers, the most advanced computers on fucking earth. You cannot put it in a box. You cannot call it simple. You know, that's just crazy to me.
yo, you ever hear the brain named itself?
Yeah.
That's a mind fuck.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's insane.
technically, I guess the brain named everything, right?
Yeah. But think about like just the concept of that is just crazy. And then on top of that, we got hormones and like shit that we eat that affects our brain. There's so much that goes into being a fucking human.
Yeah.
How to
Like,
deal with what's around us. Like it's crazy.
yeah. Like, you are sitting in that chair. I am
Yeah.
sitting in my chair.
Yeah.
And there's so much going on in our bodies right now that we're not even thinking about.
Much, so much. And it's like people just want to simplify shit. And it's just like, no, bro, like it's not that simple. Nothing is. Nothing. If you want to believe that, you know, ignorance is bliss. Believe me, believe you me. But if you want to try to be someone intelligent and absorb knowledge, the first thing you need to understand is like, yo, nothing is simple. Nothing.
Yeah. Even like, I don't know if you're big on like the Joe Rogan podcast, but like even he would say like we figured out a lot. Like us as people, we've come a long way, but
Yeah.
we really still don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. But
Like
even that thing too with his podcast has moments that are like they're so dope. But then there's moments where it's like, nah, that's not great. But then when I hear people who fucking hate him and people who love him, it's like that's exactly humanity. Like that's the, you know what I'm saying? Like that's it. The divide, that the duality, all of that. Like that's humanity.
mhm.
I know girls who just because they're oh he's a man, you know, they hate him, you know, all the shit that he does and all that. It's like, have you listened to him? No. It's like, hey, that's her humanity. That's her brain though. That's her brain. That's her life, you know. That's
Mhm.
something up there said, hey, it's time to hate him because of all these things without ever listening to him. So be it. The brain made that. That's impressive.
Yo, we're getting super deep super quick. I've listened to your newer music. I'm a big fan of lyrics. I want to ask you about a couple of them. Some of them stood out to me. So you have a song called More.
Yeah.
And a line stood out to me. You said, "When I'm in my head at night, just know that there's plenty wrong."
Oh yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you explain that?
Yeah. So the that's off of the movies EP. And the movies EP to me was I had long story short, I had a very you know, a bad thing happen to me a couple of years and what took me out the most was the fact that I kept replaying it in my head. I kept replaying the scenario, like damn near like I'm watching a movie. And every time I watched that movie, I had emotions come up. And to me, I decided that year to not come in contact with anyone. And that was something I needed to do. I needed to accept the movie that I was watching. I needed to decide whether I was going to move forward or let it keep playing and affecting me. So I also had to decide whether I was going to numb myself to it, which decision I wanted to make. And I didn't want to numb myself to it. I felt like that's something I've done my whole life, and a lot of people do it. So I was like, I'm gonna go through this. And referencing that song more, the concept of that song is like, I just need a little more love. It's from myself. I just need to love myself. And when I'm alone at night, I know, like in my head at night, I know there's plenty wrong. It's because this is me reflecting. So the main points of that is I am alone. I'm in my own head, but now I have time to pick myself apart and understand what's wrong, whether it's wrong in a sense of like my insecurities, whether it's wrong in a sense of like fake emotions or emotions that are bringing me to a decision I don't want to make, or whether it's wrong in a sense of like suicide or anything like that. A lot of these things that we think, but we can't necessarily talk about because we don't want to get judged. We don't want to get put in the wrong box or put, in someone's eyes, or even ruin our image of ourselves in someone's eyes. So when I mentioned that, that was me reflecting on just me being alone in my head and just me starting to think like, all right, I know there's plenty wrong in there. I know there's a lot going on, but this is my chance to understand that.
I'm sure many people experience it too. Like when you go to sleep at night, that's like a big self-reflection because there's no distractions. You don't got to take care of anything. It's just the day is done. And
Yeah.
I feel like when you get into a good spot, like just people in general, when you go to sleep at night, you think, I can't wait to go to sleep. And
Yeah.
there's nothing else crowding it. You know what I mean? So it's like it's good that and you were able to face it too and be like, yo, like there's some things I gotta like fix. Just that people don't want to take that step because everyone's perfect, right?
Yeah. Like nobody wants to take that accountability. And it's like me taking that accountability. That's why I condensed it to 3 songs. It was going to be a little bit longer, but those 3 songs, they were painful to me. Like, what I'm saying? Like those were painful. And I needed that because without that pain, I wouldn't be able to come out of it with such good attitude, with such good energy. You know what I'm saying? I learned, I lived, I understood, I broke it apart. And it made me really look at myself and understand who I am, who I was, and who I want to try to be. So, that EP meant a lot to me. That was the movie's EP was very big for me. It was I was a rough time. I wrote that. I produced the whole thing. It was me on the piano, me and making the beats, and it was just a very emotional time. And my little man gets some executive credits on there because he was messing around with me too while I was making these sad ass beats. But yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people just need to be honest with themselves because sometimes like the more you fall into a hole of not being honest with yourself, it's destructive. And you could ruin a lot of lives. Yeah, you could ruin a lot of lives, not just yours. It's very selfish.
You have a new song called Please.
Yeah.
And this is a very deep song, and there was so many things spoken about in this song. I couldn't even pinpoint to one thing. So, what is the message of this song?
Oh man. So please was my main thing with please is it was more so of the reflection. So please was like the ending of the story, it was more movies, please. And please was more so instead of it being like I need more of this, please, it was kind of like, yo, I am at the point of like I am ready to break down. And the message behind please was just like, all right, now I have to start realizing these things because I have to understand certain things aren't going to stop. So I do mention like in please, I mention like when the family's together only while grieving, outside of that, keep dreaming, like shit like that. It's like family members are only going to keep passing. So we need to realize this now before we're all gone. You know what I'm saying? Before more family members are gone. At least I need to realize that. And that was kind of like, before I'm gone, that was the type of energy that I need to understand. And that was me like, yo, either I'm just going to disappear, or I need to start reaching out. I need to start getting things together. I need to start reaching out to people. So it was kind of me begging myself to make a decision, and that was the end of it. So the More Movies Please is like, hey, do I want to keep watching these movies, or do I want to make new ones? And Please was just the finishing touch on like the whole reality of it, because I did realize at the end of my depression and my year I took off that I neglected and abandoned a lot of people, including my family. That was the pinch. That was the ending. That was the the tail end.
How are you able to like share like in the music, and even in this interview, how are you able to share like these personal experiences and things, like, and be so open? Because people in hip hop, most, I'm the cool guy, everybody loves me, and
Yeah.
you're very real. So like, how do you get the courage to like just put it out there like that?
Honestly, I've always lived my life very upfront, because it's kind of like, I don't know if it's kind of like an old cheesy saying, but it's like, yo, if I wear, my heart and everything on my sleeve, like if I put it, front and center, like, then what can you hurt me with? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what can people hurt me with? And it's only going to go one way or another. You're either going to love me or hate me. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather it be that than to have someone in between that I'm unsure of. So it's like, I'm going to give this energy and, take it or leave it. you feel me? Like, take it or leave it. But yeah, I think that a lot of people can learn a lot from just practicing a little bit of honesty, at a time, because there was a time, like, I've always been an upfront person, especially with people I love. But there was a time, where a lot of my go-to things to do once I would hit a breaking point would be to disappear. And to disappear and hide is not being upfront with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not being honest. It's almost selfish, because it's like, yo, we're people. We need to know what's going on. Like, we're people. We need each other regardless of what people think and say. And to disappear is very selfish. And I was a big fan of that. I was a big fan of when I'd hit a breaking point, I'd be that guy. Oh, I'm the strong friend. What's going on? You can lean on me. You can do that. But when I'm having a problem, I disappear. And I'm like, that's not cool, So I've always practiced just being very clear, being very upfront and forward, because it's at the very minimum, that's what I would like back.
Something for me personally, and I want to get your take, but like, I have come a little bit more accepting of the mumble rap new style. And before I was, and I'm sure you could relate, I was like, fuck that shit. What the fuck is going on? Everyone's like, why is it popular? And I'm not
Yeah, yeah.
saying I love it, but I'm accepting to it. Some of the artists I do like. How,
Yeah.
how do you feel? Like, are you a little open minded to
Yeah,
the
yeah, I'm very much so open to it. But I've always been open to different music, because I grew up listening to a lot of different music. So I've never really been like a purist when it comes to certain shit like that. So I've always been open to it, because it's like, yo, like, music is that, like, music is just expression. You know what I'm saying? Like, to put a genre on music is almost like a way for, labels and awards and stuff to control it, because it shouldn't be controlled. Like, you should be able to put together whatever you wanted. That's why I liked, one of my favorite bands was E-Town Concrete growing up, because he was just rapping on some heavy metal shit. You know what I'm saying? But it was like street rap. It wasn't like Mike Shinoda nerd raps and no shit like that. He was talking some shit. You know what I'm
Yo,
saying?
yo, yo! I got Linkin Park up on the wall,
Oh,
man.
I rock with Linkin Park, but I'm just saying.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
Rest in peace, Chester. But it's like, yeah, like E-Town Concrete. It was just this big brolic white dude who rocked backwards hats and baggy shirts, and was like, bro, this is how I am. And he rapped. And then he would start barking. And I'm like, this is fire. He's doing whatever the fuck he wants. You know what I'm saying? He's doing whatever he wants. And they covered a fucking Body Count song with Ice-T's band song. I'm like, I love this, And that kind of freedom to me would never happen if you keep shit stuck in a box. Saying you would never have that type of stuff. And I'm open to this new age stuff. I just don't like when the new age stuff is very I don't like when people just copy and paste. I don't like unoriginality.
So
Like,
that glad you said that, and that's a big gripe with me too. It's like some of it's unoriginal, and I feel like we're talking about the same things, man, and it
yeah,
does get redundant. So I do have my gripes with it, but I'm not a full on fuck this shit, and I
yeah,
just think it's bad because like yourself, I'm a big lover of music and I like different types. I don't like to be like I'm a hip hop guy, I'm a rock guy, I'm a punk guy. I like eating it all
yeah,
or
yeah,
hearing it all.
yeah. Because it's like the unoriginality. I call I don't like rappers who use, I say, industry words or industry terms. Like I fucked your bitch, and I came from the mud, and I got the
Diamonds on
bank.
my wrist.
You hear those words all the time, and those are the copy and paste ones. I like to hear a little more. If you're give me one of your blocks, like where you're from. Give me a little bit of you, and then I'll give it a little more leeway. But the full on copy and paste, that shit is unless it's funny, like Lil Tecca, shout out Long Island. If it's like him who's just like, oh, I don't do none of that shit, I just thought it sounded cool, then that's cool. Fuck it, you're just having fun. But if you're out here really trying to make it and you have no originality, it's like, bro, like what the fuck? Like what do you go home with? Like how do you feel? Like how do you sleep at night? Besides rich, I guess. But yeah. Nah, I don't know, man. It's very weird. But that's the thing too. Like with I'm very against like the hip hop, the purists. They're very funny to me. I love a good old head every now and then because they will say some shit that's hilarious. But I'm not fully on board with them. It's like, bro, if you're that person who's like, yo, I only do boom bap, then you have no right to be mad at Lil Uzi Vert, who's like, yo, I don't rap on boom bap. Same difference.
Yeah.
Same shit. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, keep it fair. Keep
You
it
saw
fair.
you saw Ebro. Did you see Ebro try to play him?
Oh
When
yeah.
he was like, I don't rap on these beats.
Yeah. Oh, but that's specifically what I'm talking about. All the old heads who are mad at him. But it's like, bro, you only like these beats. You only like boom bap. You're no different than him because he only likes the shit that he does. So what's the
Yeah,
difference?
and if music is changing, then shouldn't the radio station be changed? Like the people there be changing with it?
Yeah. Yeah.
They represent hip hop, right? Not
Yeah.
just boom bap hip hop, because like we were saying before, there's so many different types
So many
and
genres.
subgenres, and it's you can't even keep up anymore.
The subgenres and the genres are more for control and like I guess coherency, like to know what's going on. But outside of that, it's like who fucking cares? I only get upset when it's like best hip hop album of the year and it's like Justin Bieber, some shit like that, and I'm like, I don't make no sense. But that's their game. That's the awards game. You won't catch me watching these awards. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So it's like you gotta figure out what your role in this game is, or like what you want to digest from it. But some
Mhm.
people just old, cats get a little too crazy.
I've learned that you are a big music hoarder. So what is all the new stuff that you're gonna be releasing this year?
Oh my god. So I have a lot that's coming out. I hoard music. I hoard music very, very badly. And it's more so because I am very specific about my marketing. It's just I never have time. I'm always doing a million other things. So I have to literally, it's crazy. When I get into release music mode, I like take off from work. I'll like take off a few days. I'll like pre-post like 2 weeks ahead on Not Your Man's, like reviews go flying and other things like that. And then I'll be like, all right, let's market. Let's make and I'll do like 30 marketing videos and all sorts of shit, all in like a 2-3 day span, nonstop work. But
Dude,
yeah,
you promoting other people more than
then I promote myself.
project sometimes.
I know. And that's a bad thing that I have to do, like
No, 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 no. You love both. You love
I
doing both.
yeah. I just wish I promoted myself more because I love putting out music. And
The podcast does promote you.
for the most part, what's crazy is I don't even like to name drop on the podcast on the podcast. I don't even like to be like, oh, I'm dropping something. Like it's weird for me, but I don't know, man, because I like to keep the podcast as its own world and brand, and I like to keep my music as its own thing.
That
But
that's genuine right there.
yeah, like I don't want to, I don't want to like piggyback, or anything like that. Like that's why even when it comes to, what I do on the page that a lot of people like just they don't know why I do it, but I do it. when I release anything, I usually reach out to artists that I've given a red stamp to review my stuff. Because I feel like they're gonna give me the most criticism, you know, and it's so far it's worked. I mean, they'll come out and tell me, you know, and it is what it is, you know. But as far as what I have a project that should be coming out soon. I'm actually in the works of promoting. We were talking about getting like a, you know, publisher and all sorts of stuff. So we did the email thing, but I got a project with CG, the producer, super dope, linked up with him through Not Your Mans. He actually produced a project that I really enjoyed. And, you know, I shot my shot. I was like, yo, I'd love to work with you. We got a little 5-piece called The Mind State coming out. And this is the art for it, which is pretty dope. Got this written up by Anthony Respect, dope artist, super smart dude, very, very dope. I sent him the project. I gave him an idea. I was just like, this is the concept of the project. And he came up with this art and it's fantastic. But that's my first project I'm going to drop. Right after that, I have another project with a producer named Sam the Grouch, making his waves with the underground peoples. And he's dope as hell. And then I have 2 projects that are from me. So I like to split it up. I like to work with artists, producers, and then I like to produce my own stuff. And
mix, master, produce, record you on that Rush shit.
Yeah, I try to do a lot of, yeah. For the most part, I'll do like a light mix, but I let the mastering go to my best friend Grant Valentine. He's dope as hell. He's making big moves. He like does shit with Shaggy. He like does a lot of engineering for Shaggy and stuff, which is really cool. But he's great. Me and him have been best friends forever. We've been in bands together. Dope dude. Hit me up if you guys are looking for an engineer. But anyways, I have a big project that's my secret project with a very known producer. And it's probably like my last hurrah into kind of like a little more limelight, because this is a very big name producer. And
who is it?
I'm not gonna leak it.
Come on, yo, you on Ally on the rise. We get real here.
Fuck it. You know, I'll let. This is gonna be the first time anyone's hearing from this on anything. But I have an EP with 88 Keys. And for those who don't know, 88 Keys he did some of the beats on Donda. He's worked with Kanye. He was around with Kanye when he first came out, and he had the last like recorded Mac Miller track. He's up there. He does produces for Jay-Z and shit like that. He's worked with Hit Boy and everyone.
How did we make that happen?
Sure enough, I linked up. To long story short, I linked up with a very, very dope Long Island artist, Little Vic. Fire. Absolutely insane. And he is just a dope dude. And long story short, he kind of, you know, connected the two. And I ended up, you know, chopping it up with 88. I went out to his place and he made these beats in front of me. It was a very humbling experience. Got a lot of dope info. We got some Chick-fil-A. It was dope. And you know, it was just an experience, and just to be with a legend, you know. And yeah, so we got that project. Like, I'm very grateful for, you know, Vic kind of putting that together, because I got a 5-piece EP, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like I didn't have to break, you know, I didn't have to break the bank. Like, I didn't have to fucking put my house up type shit, you know, my car up. So it's very humbling, very dope. So I'm super excited. The finishing touches on that. And then, yeah, so the Sam the Grouch, the first one's the CG, the producer, Sam the Grouch, 2 for me. And then I want to end out the year with the 88 Keys one.
I appreciate you coming on here, taking the time. Before we wrap it up, we're going to play a game really quick. Yeah. All right?
Yeah, what you got?
So the artist behind me, you got to take down one artist, and then you're going to put one up. Okay.
I got to take down one artist. Which one? Like in this area? So I'm going to take down Peep. No disrespect to Peep, because I was bumping Peep.
Now, okay, why Peep though?
Why Peep? Because I would have to say he's the least listened to out of everyone there.
But bro, this is a Long Island artist. We're on LI on the rise, man.
I know he is a Long Island artist, but he is the least listened to. I feel like I feel like his name is getting milked with a lot of the postmortem releases, and they're not the quality that they should be. I did like his last release, the part 2 that he put out before he passed, and I think that was a great thing, even though it was after he died. Like that was the first posthumous, I should say, right after he died. I feel like that was the only one that was really good. Everything else is kind of just labels, just milking his name. But I don't know. I think a little bit prior to that, he was still in the path of developing his sound, you know? So,
Absolutely.
because like I've ran through his catalog and I'm like, man, nothing hits the way these, you know, these 2 projects were hitting. But
Yeah.
I have to take him down just out of that, just off of that, not even like on some disrespect stuff, just off of that. And if I have to put someone up there in the lights of him, I would have to go with, I mean, I'm trying to think of an artist. I would like to put someone within that same fairness rank.
You don't necessarily have to. It could be any artist.
If I was, you know, I mean, for me, you know, to fit in this realm, because we got a lot of the kind of genre crossing, more, you know what I'm saying, like different genres and more, I guess, music forward, like pushing forward type artists. I don't know. For me, I think I could throw DMX there. He was kind of a big change when it comes to that. I mean, but also, you know, I could throw Biz Markie there. It's a lot of artists that I think people should know that kind of fit that, you know.
Nice, man. Really good answers.
You know, just to fit that, you know, kind of rest in peace to, or, you know, along those lines type thing.
Is there anybody up on the wall that you think is whack or not that great?
um no, I kind of fuck with all of them. I mean, I can't tell fully who Shorty is under Amy though.
That's Avril Lavigne.
I was thinking, I'm like, is that Avril? But she looks older, and she never looks old. That's why I couldn't tell from here.
So interesting you say that. So this picture is the 2022 Avril
That's
Lavigne.
why. That's why. Yeah, I'm like, is it? And she's wearing a fur, so I was like, it could be Avril Lavigne or, you know, someone from like the Dixie Chicks. I'm not 100% just looking at it from here. I actually rocked with her first 2 albums when they dropped heavy. I was like, bro, this is a good time. I had them on CD, but no, I rock with everyone on there. I'm a big fan of Amy Winehouse. I'm very upset she died when her and Nas were working on a project. Cherry Wine's one of the best songs ever made. Chester was dope as hell, even though Linkin Park kind of got a little U2-ish for me. Kanye's legendary, even though he said all that bullshit about Talib and Black Star, really hurt my feelings. But Kanye does his thing. He's just in a pocket right now where the art from like clothing and all that extra shit starting to get into his music, where it's just a mess. Shout out to Cobain and him making a comeback as far as with Batman. Everybody's listening, Nirvana again. So that's
They
always
use
dope.
they used the Nirvana song and I didn't see the movie.
Yeah, and it's in the trailer too, and it's, you know, bringing his those streams back up, regardless of who's getting the money. Probably, you know, the one that everyone thinks is the reason he's killed. But you know, not gonna talk about conspiracies. But shout out to Nirvana. I mean, grunge was a beautiful for me. I mean, getting to see grunge kind of in its glory, you know, growing up was dope to me. And seeing him, like, his Unplugged is still one of the few projects that can like break me down. You know. Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of people on there like that I just even on the side like that I rock with. Especially I rocked with Avril. She was out here. Oh, this wall is where it's at, you know. This is I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this. Yeah.
John D. Contradiction. Shout out to you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. Everybody, everything at John D. Who. Don't forget to give this man a like and subscribe, man. Stop fucking around. He supports Long Island. If you're from Long Island and you're not reaching out to him, then you're doing yourself a disservice. The dude works hard. He loves him some music, which is always dope, but he also just supports. So whether you're doing music or something to boost Long Island, show love. Stop being selfish and don't be soft.
You heard it here first, people.